Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Dada Pranam, dear devotees. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Today we are very happy to have the association of His Grace Madhavsharan Prabhu. He'll be sharing Bhagavata from 4th Canto, 26th chapter, verse number 16. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dada Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now, yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's Bhagavatam class. First of all, I would like to take the blessings of all the assembled devotees, especially senior devotees. And also I would like to thank Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya team for giving me this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are speaking from Canto 4, Chapter 26 and Shloka 16. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. क्व वर्तते साललना मज्जन्तं व्यसनार्णवे या माम् उद्धरते प्रज्ञां दीपयन्ति पदे पदे. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation goes like this. Kindly let me know the whereabouts of that beautiful woman who always saves me when I am drowning in the ocean of danger. By giving me good intelligence at every step, she always saves me. Purport: there is no difference between a good wife and good intelligence. One who possesses good intelligence can deliberate properly and save himself from many dangerous conditions. In material existence, there is danger at every step. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.58, it is said, Padam Padam Yad Vipadam Natesham. In this material world is not actually a place of residence for an intelligent person or a devotee, because here there is danger at every step. Vaikuntha is the real home for the devotee, for there is no anxiety and no danger. Good intelligence means becoming Krishna conscious. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Krishna e bhaje se bada chatura. Unless one is Krishna conscious, he cannot be called an intelligent person. Herein we see that King Puranjana was searching after his good wife, who always helped him out of the dangerous situations that always occur in material existence. As already explained, a real wife is Dharma Patni, that is, a woman accepted in marriage by ritualistic ceremony is called Dharma Patni, which signifies that she is accepted in terms of the religious principles. Children born of a Dharma Patni inherit the property of the father, but children born of a woman who is not properly married do not inherit the father's property. The word Dharma Patni also refers to a chaste wife. A chaste wife is one who never had any connection with men before her marriage. Once a woman is given the freedom to mingle with all kinds of men in her youth, it is very difficult for her to keep chaste. When butter is brought in the proximity of fire, it melts. The woman is like fire, and the man is like the butter. But if one gets a chaste wife accepted through a religious marriage ritual, she can be of great help when one is threatened by the many dangerous situations of life. Actually, such a wife can become the source of all good intelligence. With such a good wife, the family's engagement in the devotional service of the Lord actually makes a home a grahastha ashrama, or household dedicated to spiritual cultivation. So in this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam, King Puranjan is inquiring from the maid servants of the queen Puranjani. So here King Puranjana is representing the conditioned soul. So he is asking about his beautiful queen, where she is gone. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is explained, when in the conditioned state of where the soul is influenced by the mode of passion, the lust develops. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samudbhava. So, conditioned soul in the material world wants to enjoy in different ways. So the conditioned soul makes different plans to enjoy sense gratification. So when the plans are not successful, or when one is not able to engage in sense gratification, he gets anger. So kama esha, krodha esha. And when the sense gratification, these desires are fulfilled, the greed develops. He wants to enjoy more and more. So here we can see King Puranjana under Rajoguna. Actually, previously he left his chaste wife, and he was anchoring for illicit connections. And here we can easily see that in the age of Kali, it is very easy to get carried away. And the society, the modern society, is in such a way that these illicit connections, these are encouraged, and it is in every way it is driven, and it is through advertisements or through various media. These things are encouraged. But when one is influenced by mode of passion, so he is not satisfied only with his wife. So he likes to have connections with many women, which is a kind of illicit connections. So actually, in this chapter we see he goes for animal hunting. Puranjana, King Puranjana goes for animal hunting, which is related with women hunting. So after some time, Puranjana gets frustrated. So in the purport, we see Srila Prabhupada says, this material world is a place of, is not a place of residence for any gentleman, or one who is a very intelligent person, basically for devotees. This is not a place of residence for devotees. It is like a toilet. This material world is like a toilet. And at every step we have danger. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. So, and we see that in the material world, basically most of the conditioned souls, they are attached or hankering for mainly two things. One is money, second one is women. So they always think that if I have these two things, I will be happy. So if one gets it, then also he will suffer. And if he doesn't have it, then he will hanker for it, and eventually he will suffer. So basically conditioned souls are suffering even though they are having money and woman. But the soul, the conditioned soul doesn't realize it because of his lusty desires. Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhaham bhagavan sukhi. The conditioned soul thinks that I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the master, I am the perfected person, and I am the most happiest person. Even though he is suffering in the material world, he thinks that I can become happy if I make this plan. It is just happiness is not too far. I am always happy. But slowly over the period, the intelligent person, he will realize that he is suffering, he is not happy. He is suffering because of four problems of life, which is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. So the intelligent person, he comes to the conclusion he can't enjoy because over the period senses become weaker, and eventually one becomes old, and eventually he has to die. So he can see, the intelligent person, he can see these realities of life, and then he starts inquiring by good intelligence, athato brahma jijnasa, who am I, why I am suffering. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning there is no difference between a good wife and a good intelligence. So here wife is representing intelligence. So real intelligence means one is in Krishna consciousness. So as we know, there are two types of consciousness. One is Krishna consciousness and another one is material consciousness. So when one is having Krishna consciousness, he will direct himself towards Vaikuntha Loka. But when one is having material consciousness, he will go towards sense gratification and more degradation. So Bhakti Vinod Thakura says, if wife is a devotee and children are devotees, and if they are helping each other to progress in the path of pure devotional service, as such a house is Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan. So grahe tako vane tako sada hari bole tako. So that's why here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about the grahastha ashram, how it should be. So in the grahastha ashram, women's role is very important in house. So actually men generally they are going out, and most of the time they are out for acquiring money and maintenance. That is his responsibility. But practically the maintenance inside the house, that is mostly done by the wife. So she manages everything. So if wife is Krishna conscious, there is a chance that the whole house can be in stability, and the whole house can be Krishna conscious. And wife's role is very important in the grahastha ashram. So even we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yayati's case, he enjoyed material life for thousands of years. Later he gets old, then he wants you know life from his he wants to exchange some years from his sons, but there also he is consulting his wife. So actually these material desires cannot be given up. This lust, when it is fulfilled, one thinks that it's satisfied, but it is never satiated, but rather it increases. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning women is like a fire and man is like a butter. When butter is brought into the proximity of fire, it melts. It's natural that the butter is there, and when it is brought near to the fire, it naturally melts. But one more point here we have to understand, but if one gets Krishna conscious wife, then it is very good. So in the previously in Varnashrama, up to 25 years one used to follow brahmacharya, strict celibacy. Then 25 to 50, if one is allowed to enter grahastha ashram, and this sex is allowed to have Krishna conscious children, and in all the other three ashrams sex is not allowed. And in year of 50 to 75, one would take Vanaprastha ashram, there also sex life is not allowed. One lives with the wife, but he will be completely practicing tapascharya in Krishna consciousness. And at the age of 75 up to 100 years, they would take sannyas. So this was generally the custom in previous ages. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says intelligence is higher than the mind. So basically the point is how one can control the mind, and in other words, how one can avoid sense gratification. Uh, so in the previous ages, this lifestyle was natural, and one was able to the control the senses and the mind. Even though in grahasthashram, if the grahasthashram, the life was led in such a way that Krishna is in the center and the whole family is Krishna conscious, and they naturally used to control the mind. So in order to control the mind, we have to understand intelligence is higher than the mind. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe parastastu sha. So mind is the cause of liberation, and mind is also the cause of bondage. So if one makes the mind his friend, then that mind becomes the cause of liberation. And if one is unable to control the mind, then he gets bound. And also one has to understand the nature of the mind to in order to control it. So mind is by nature, it is very flickering and unsteady. So and also the mind is the king of all senses. We have different senses, and mind is the king of all the senses. So all these senses are guided by the mind. So the intelligent person, he has to guide the mind. So mind should be guided by the intelligence, because intelligence is higher than the mind. So we have to understand our constitutional position and engage our mind in Krishna consciousness. Jivera Swarup Hoya Krishnera Nitya Das. So here also good wife is representing good intelligence. So then what is good intelligence? Good intelligence means we are understanding our constitutional position. What is our position? We are eternally Krishna's servants. So previously also we discussed intelligence means to inquire, who am I? Why am I suffering? Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Srila Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ke ami kene amai chareta patraya apani kaha prabhu ki seritahaya. So Sanatana Goswami is asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? Am I this body? So, and another question, why am I suffering? So this is actually the good intelligence. And when we understand I am Krishna Das, our real position is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And understanding our real position using our intelligence, if we can guide the mind or use the mind in Krishna consciousness, this solves the whole problem. So Krishnera Nitya Das, because avidya, ignorance, is the root of all the problems. So when we are in knowledge that we are the servants of Lord Krishna, then there is a true ego. Krishnera Nityadas, true ego. So then this solves the whole problem. So then what we have to do in our stage? So in neophyte stage, we have to keep ourselves aloof from all type of sense objects of sense gratification. So you have to avoid the situations where we may indulge in sense gratification. This is the initial steps one has to take. And apart from that, one has to control the mind by intelligence. That means he has to engage his mind in all Krishna conscious activities, different sevas, maybe chanting. Srila Prabhupada used to say, whenever you get the time, just chant a Hare Krishna or read Srila Prabhupada's books, his books. So because idle mind is devil's workshop. If we, the moment the mind becomes idle, it focuses or it starts planning about sense gratification. So don't leave the mind idle. On one side, be aloof from the objects of sense gratification, and on the other side, positively engage the mind in all Krishna conscious activities. So then what happens? Even though senses are very strong like serpents, they become the serpents without pangs, with broken pangs. That means that it has no effect. And with this complete practice, gradually and eventually over the period of time, the mind becomes strong, strengthened in Krishna consciousness. So, and in this way, one can achieve his destination or goal very easily. So use the intelligence to control the flickering mind. So mind wanders here and there, even during the japa, it wanders here and there. Bring back the mind. Control the flickering mind. So that is the reason Krishna conscious intelligence is required. And in order to have the Krishna conscious intelligence, one has to do Shravanam and Shastric study, Swadhyaya. And if one's intelligence is lusty, then it carries away the conditioned soul. So here we are seeing wife Puranjani. The Puranjana is asking, like, where is my good wife who used to give me all good suggestions, good guidance she used to give? So where is she now? So actually, chaste wife, she will always give good suggestions, good intelligence to her husband. Srila Prabhupada says, if wife is chaste, she can save her husband from even the most dangerous situations. And we see many examples in the Shastras. We know Savitri, when her husband was destined to die, Yamaraj comes. And Yamaraja, he is very happy with the chastity of Savitri. And he asks her for boon. I'll give you some boons. Then Savitri asks 3 boons. And out of the 1/3 one, she asked for, I need 100 sons. So Yamaraja, he sanctions the boon and he takes the soul away. He wants to take the soul away, her husband's soul. Then she is asking him, how can you take? Because you have given me the boon of 100 sons, and a chaste woman can get 100 sons only through her husband. So Yamaraja got defeated and he had to return him. So in this way, this wife protects her husband from many dangerous situations. So even the wife is called here Dharma Patni. Patni means Patan, one who saves her husband from Patan. Patan means fall down or any dangerous situations. So that is the name of the meaning of Patni. So Dharma Patni, chaste wife, she is always, dedicated her whole life for her husband. And when such wife is there, then the whole house becomes very beautiful environment, and the home is a grahastha ashram. So but in today's world, we see that there are a lot of opposite things which are happening, and today's marriage more or less is based on money. mm, One who will be very rich, and if the man cannot control his sex desire, uh, and somehow there is no religious marriages. Sometimes they go to court, and do some register marriage, but in previous days it's not like that. Religious marriages means it's as per the Vedic principle. Girl is given as charity by her father. It's called kanyadan. And all the elders will bless. And the sacred oaths are taken in front of the fire god. So but nowadays a boy gets attracted to girl, and girl gets attracted to boy, and they get married, uh, and later sometimes they cannot adjust, and the marriages are not sometimes successful. But in previous Vedic marriages it was not like that. Uh, the marriage ceremony was sacred. The life after that is also sacred, and it's called grahastha ashram, and the whole household is dedicated to spiritual cultivation. We see King Priyavrata, Narada Muni preached him to take brahmacharya. Narada Muni encouraged him to take brahmacharya, and Swayambhuva Manu was not happy. So we see both are Mahajanas, and there is the views are different between two Mahajanas. So then what to do? They went to another Mahajan, Brahma. So even Brahma could not decide, so they went to Vishnu. Then later Vishnu told King Priyavrata has to enter Grahastha ashram, and Swayambhuva Manu should take Vanaprastha. So based on the authorities, the superior and authorities, King Priyavrata took Grahastha ashram. Not because he could not control his senses, or whimsically, not like that. It is based on wishes of the higher authorities. So we have to understand at any point of time we should be always under the protection of the authorities or superiors or senior devotees. So because they are our well-wishers, maybe spiritual masters or temple authorities, superiors, senior devotees, they are our authorities. So we should be always under the protection of the authorities. Then we are always protected, because they can study the different situations and give good guidance. So in such cases the marriages will be successful. So here in purpose, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in family life, women's role is very, very important, and she has to balance the whole situations at home. So good wife is compared to good intelligence, and good wife should provide good intelligence to husband and always help him in Krishna consciousness. So such a house will be Vaikuntha. That is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning, where Krishna is in the center. Puranjan's wife, here in this chapter, she is Krishna conscious wife. So in this chapter as a whole, we know that actually Narada Muni is preaching to a Karmakandi king Prachina Parhi. Basically, Narada Muni, he wanted to uplift him, Prachina Parhi king. He was doing various Karmakandi rituals, but he was not interested in pure bhakti. But he is coming in the lineage of pure devotees, like Dhruva Maharaj, Anga Maharaj, Prutu Maharaj. But here he is performing various Karmakandi sacrifices. And in the name of sacrifice, he is killing so many animals. So Narada Muni could not directly preach him. So in through Puranjana's story, he is convincing him. So we have seen all these chapters, how what exactly is Puranjan. Puranjan represents the conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. So actually, in the spiritual life, even in nectar of instruction, controlling mind and the senses is the preliminary step in spiritual life. So in this regard, one has to purify his intelligence. So this is very, very important. Again, the whole the context regarding the intelligence and comparison between good intelligence and good wife is to understand that when we purify our intelligence, then naturally mind is under control. So this the when the mind is in control, then one can make a rapid advancement in spiritual life. And on the other hand, lusty intelligence leads to degradation. So this also we have to understand. So lusty intelligence is compared to bad wife. She also leads to degradation and suffering. In this regard, there is a story. There will be a king who had one queen. So this queen, she gets attracted to one diamond seller in front of her palace. One day what happens, the king goes out for some work, and the queen thinks this is the right time so that I can call the diamond seller. So she sends one of her dasi and asks her to call him, and the dasi goes to him and tells queen wants to buy some diamond necklace. And this poor fellow diamond seller, he comes to the queen, and the queen, instead of buying the diamond, she sees the diamond seller in a lusty way, and she starts speaking him in with lusty words. Instead of buying the diamond, she is seeing in that way. So in that time, at that time, what happens? Immediately the king comes back. So this queen doesn't know what to do, because she was not expecting that the king comes back. So she has to hide him somewhere. The diamond seller, she has to hide him. So there previously in those time, the toilet used to be outside the house. So she says the diamond seller to hide in the toilet. So in the toilet there used to be two compartments. One is the upper side and the bottom side. So usually the bottom side is for the cleaning purpose, and on one he sits on the upper side and he passes the stool. So definitely he cannot go up. So the diamond seller goes in the bottom side compartment. So Actually, king came for attend the nature's call. That was, he had urgent stomach upset, and he came, and he directly goes to the toilet itself. So we know that what happens, and we can understand the situation of the diamond seller. So king, its stomach is upset, and he goes for this nature's call three, 4 times. So in this story, mm, exactly we can understand some lessons. The lusty intelligence, this refers to the queen. She called conditioned soul, who is a diamond merchant. So diamond seller, he thought, if I can go to queen, I'll get lot of money, I can enjoy. I'll get lot of money and I can enjoy. So the conditioned soul gets attracted to the lusty intelligence. And what happened? Then he had to deal with the stool. So same situation is for the material, in material world, for the conditioned souls. So one has lusty desires, then he has to deal with the stool and urine. So this kind of situations, it will be arising. So when one's mind is totally purified, the soul gets completely purified, then his spiritual body gets awakened, and after leaving this body, he can go back home, back to Godhead. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Maha Dhavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam. So the whole process is the process of purification. So until one gets completely purified, he has to go through Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi cycle, or in other words, he has to deal with the stool. So one has to purify the consciousness. Impure consciousness, then he has to deal with impure body, which is made of stool, urine, blood, pus, mucus. Purified consciousness means pure body. He can live in the pure place, Vaikuntha. So in this shloka, we are understanding intelligence. We saw two types of intelligence: good intelligence, lusty intelligence. What is the situation when the intelligence is lusty? He has to deal with the stool. And when the intelligence gets purified, good intelligence, so then he can uplift himself to Vaikuntha planets. So intelligence needs to be purified, and one has to become Krishna conscious. So in this purpose, Srila Prabhupada is explaining through good wife. So when a good wife, she takes responsibility and maintains and balances the whole house will become Vaikuntha. So the whole story refers to the conditioned soul in the material world. So being devotees, one has to understand what is material world, what is Maya, by intelligence. We have to understand, we have to clearly make distinctions, because when one is attacked by lust, then his whole eyes are, it is covered, and he cannot see the things as they are. Maya means that which is not. So one is attacked by Maya or lust, he cannot see the things as they are. Not only that, it is not only covering the vision, but also it bewilders the conditioned soul in such a way that the conditioned soul is misled by it. He completely goes in a different path together. For example, if I have to go from here to say Delhi, so first of all it covers the vision so that I can't see the path going towards Delhi. Not only that, it also misleads me and it may take me to Chennai. So the whole path is different. In this way, when the conditioned soul is attacked by the lust, he is completely bewildered. And he is more and more entangled in the material world and this cycle of birth and death. So one has to restrain the mind and senses. On one side, one has to restrain the mind and senses. On the other side, positively, one has to engage the mind in Krishna consciousness or focus the mind on Krishna's lotus feet. In this way, when one controls the mind by using higher intelligence or purified intelligence, then he can achieve the success and go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada says in this life itself, it is possible. So I would like to end the class by quoting one of Srila Prabhupada's quote. If we chant neglectfully, success takes time. But if we chant carefully, success comes sooner, even in this life. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. If there are any questions or comments or suggestions or corrections, it's welcome. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for wonderfully explaining the how good intelligence can elevate us, whereas bad intelligence can degrade us with various good analogies and stories. Thank you. Devotees can unmute themselves to share any reflections, or if they have any questions, please ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
I mean, very methodically you have explained it in detail. Thank you for all the sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji, I think we can conclude. Thank you once again for your time. We'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranams.
Somebody has.
Okay, Prabhu. No. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Vancha kalpatubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vranda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.